listening to Sports Radio Detroit.
Welcome to Grave Discussions. I am your host, Barnabas.
And I am your co-host, Samael. Welcome to episode
48.
a lot. We've been here now for this many weeks.
Yeah, it has been a long time, and we're back with you fiends today with episode 48. There's something wrong with Miles. So
Everything is wrong with Miles.
yeah, there is a lot wrong with him, but we're going to be reviewing The Prodigy on today's episode. That's coming up in our main segment. We just saw it over the weekend, and I've been seeing a little bit here and there, on social media about it. So I feel like a lot of people may not have seen this movie yet, and so if you're interested in it, we're going to tell you what we think about it. But before we do all that, we do have to give a shout out to our host, Sports Radio Detroit.
Yes, the most warm and gracious hosts, and you can find them on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That is Sports Radio Detroit, not Detroit Sports Radio. SRD. That's us.
Yep, get it right. Go check them out. So we do have to start with all the horror news, as always.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get right into it. The first thing was the most exciting for me.
I heard about this.
Yeah, Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, none other, going to be doing a new TV series for Hulu about H.H. Holmes based on the book The Devil in the White City. So this is pretty awesome because, these guys are like legends at this point.
Oh, yeah. Scorsese and DiCaprio, last thing I remember that they did was Shutter Island.
Yeah.
They were, DiCaprio acted in it, of course, and Scorsese was I think he directed it. But it's the last time those two were on a thing together, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. This is really cool because, now since the Ted Bundy thing, serial killers are all the rage again.
Oh, yeah.
And H.H. Holmes was one of the crazier out of all those motherfuckers.
Yeah, he was a sick fuck. But then again, so was Albert Fish. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah.
That guy was a fucker.
Oh, he was too, yeah. But I actually heard this cool episode on lore about H.H. Holmes because he had that murder hotel or whatever at the Chicago World's Fair, and it expanded on how he built the hotel and what he did before and after the hotel or whatever, stuff like that. But it was absolutely insane. So I'm actually looking forward to this one, not only because of that, but because of the people attached to it. So I'm pretty pumped about it. I haven't read the book though, but from what I've heard, it's an incredible book. So I'm looking forward to this for sure.
Hey, anything Scorsese does, I'll watch it. So
same.
Did you know that in Angel Heart, when Robert De Niro was acting as Louis Cyphre, he said the whole movie he just did his best Martin Scorsese impression.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you may have told me about that before.
I think so, yeah.
That's an interesting little tidbit.
It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for that one. Once we have a date, we'll let you guys know.
Hey, this next bit of news, I'm the most excited. This is probably the number one horror thing I'm excited about this year.
Really? Yeah. I would say so too. It's one of mine at least, especially now.
Besides It and Child's Play.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Child's Play show, but anyway, what are they making next?
So, as we have told you guys before, they are creating a Creepshow TV series. It's going to be on Shudder, and it's going to be through The Walking Dead's Greg Nicotero.
Yeah.
And they just announced basically more details about it. It's going to be a 6-episode season, and apparently there's going to be an adaptation of a Stephen King story that has not yet been announced, and segments by a bunch of other horror authors as well, including Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. his story that's going to be adapted is By the Silvery Waters of Lake Champlain. There's going to be another one by Michigan's own Josh Mallerman, House of the Head. And then there's going to be a bunch of other ones as well. So these are cool. All the stories are listed on this Bloody Disgusting article, so you could probably Google it. But yeah, there's going to be a bunch of really cool sounding stories, and I'm super pumped for it.
I have this Stephen King book. I think it's called Funland or something. I hope they turn that into like a Creepshow episode.
Yeah, that's not one of the ones that's on this list, but I mean, shit, season 2 or season 3 or something.
Yeah, they have time because I don't think Creepshow is gonna bomb, especially because like we haven't had a Creepshow since. Well, the last Creepshow was kind of like a cash-in. You know, Creepshow 3 was just, eesh.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
But we never had a Creepshow show, so
right. Yeah, I mean,
we had Tales from the Crypt, we had Twilight Zone, we had Tales from the Dark Side, we had all of these like even smaller ones. Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark? But Creepshow's never had a TV show, so
right.
I don't know how it would pan out. It would probably like last a third of the movie, and it would probably just be on one like really really small story. And I don't know how they're gonna have time to like develop the characters in these stories, you know. But
well, I mean, if it's like an hour-long thing or even a half-hour-long thing, it's going to be something more along the lines of like, I guess the movies or like Tales from the Crypt, like, you know, I guess the characters aren't really going to develop. Plus, I mean, for the most part, I think that a lot of these are going to be more like short stories.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't think that like the Josh Mallerman thing is a full novel. So it's probably got a little less material to work with. You know, not having George Romero and Stephen King directly attached to it is kind of big, but
I thought Stephen King was gonna have something to do with the new Creepshow. I read an article recently, something like that. They said Stephen King's gonna have something to do with it.
He might act as like a producer or something, or maybe just
he might just make an appearance.
Help out. Or
I thought cameo, it was pretty cool that he was in Creepshow. Like,
yeah, if you guys know, let us know, because I don't recall anything specifically saying he was like officially attached, but he could be. I could be wrong. But Greg Nicotero, aside from being like the showrunner, is going to direct some of the episodes apparently. There's also going to be one by David Bruckner, who just did The Ritual.
Oh, nice.
Which is good.
I think we both enjoyed The Ritual when we watched it. It was probably one of the better movies that came out in like the past 5 years. I mean, I know initially like I didn't like really fuck with it, you know, because like it had a lot of dumb shit going on, like really moments. I remember like, you know, when like on The Strangers Pray at Night, it had one of those moments like, oh, we didn't do blah blah blah, like, but it did a lot better than most recent. It was better than He's Out There. So
yeah, I would agree with that, and it was one of the better like monster movies, I thought.
Yeah, it was.
Recent memories. So.
I liked it better than The Monster as well.
Yeah,
only because it wasn't really like a monster. It was like the son of a god, you know, like the bastard mutant son of Loki or whatever. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a cool mythology to bring out, though. But I hear what you're saying. I'm confident that whatever episode he directs is going to be pretty good. There's a couple other cool directors attached. One from XX as well, Roxanne Benjamin, and then a few others. So be on the lookout for that one. Again, it is coming out on Shudder later this year, and we'll keep you guys informed.
Oh damn, I'm dumb as fuck. I didn't know it was a Shudder exclusive. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. Probably it'll get Shudder a few more subscribers.
Oh yeah.
I've seen a lot of people like bitching up a storm about Shudder recently. They're like, oh, I ordered Shudder and it was not worth the $5. It's like, well then you like you're different then. You're a modern horror person. You're not on like the independent / cult films, you know, like, cause that's, I mean, sure they got shit like The Faculty, but then they got stuff like, you know, Sono Profondo and stuff like that's just like a lot more obscure in America, and like it's not like really talked about because, like I said, cult.
I did see a lot of people like who were horror fans saying like, well, I wasn't sure about it, but yeah, now I might get it. So yeah, it could be. I hope so, because Shudder's worth it.
I think they will. The first comment I saw when I opened up the Bloody Disgusting article was, "Where's my cake, Bedelia?" So like I'm pretty sure everyone who's watched Creepshow is gonna be definitely getting Shudder. Either that or They're just gonna wait till the episode comes out and then stream it illegally somewhere.
Hopefully not. Yeah, actually pay for it. It's worth it, and it helps the community and the
Shudder,
films
because
grow.
Shudder's not like a bunch of millionaires just fucking
Mhm.
sitting there like, ha, we're making all of their money. No, Shudder's just like, Shudder's like cultural, like, you
Yeah.
know, like, so.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Well, speaking of creep shows and Stephen King specifically, this next article is about
I read the.
another Stephen King adaptation, of course, because everything of his is being adapted.
He's
Mile
gonna
81.
save horror now. Like, we need more Stephen King book adaptations. Because I mean, look how well it did.
Mm.
It was one of like the highest grossing horror
Mhm.
films in like the past 5 years. One of them.
Yeah, well, a lot of his like newer books now are already in the works to be adapted. Like Sleeping Beauties and The Outsider, I think, is getting like a TV show or something.
I think he needs to like I said, more film adaptations of his books,
Mhm.
because like the screenwriters for these new horror movies, it's just like they're just like, hey, let's put together a movie for ne'er-do-well teenagers to enjoy. Like they have
Yeah.
like really no depth, and like when they try to be like meaningful, they sort of like seem pretentious. So like I want that to change, because Stephen King was never a pretentious writer. Like he doesn't have many like bad stories. He has some like uninspired stories, I want to call them, because he did have like a few like lackluster ones, but like for the most part, like he's a gold mine for horror stories.
Oh yeah, but yeah, there's a Stephen King novella called Mile 81 that's being adapted by Alistair Legrand, who also directed Clinical, which was an okay movie. He's going to be making this into a full-length film that is kind of difficult sometimes, as we've seen with some other adaptations, but the setting itself is really cool. It's set around a remote, boarded-up rest stop and follows 12-year-old Pete and his brother and a group of strangers who have to fight to survive as they're hunted by a mysterious force. So very Stephen King-ish,
Yeah.
of
I
course.
think it's gonna be like it sounds Christine-ish. So
I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be either some like weird monster or I don't know, some
The
kind
photo-
of like Langoliers type shit or something, or Tommy Knockers or something.
the photo in the article shows a car,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I said Christine. Like I'm assuming it has something to do with like,
Maybe
car.
that's from the book art or something.
what if they're
I
like
don't know.
trapped in the car and they keep calling for help, and anyone that tries to like come help them, some shit like that. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read the novella, unfortunately, but I might want to pick it up now and see what it's about. Because, usually with these like shorter stories, it's kind of tough to stretch it out into like a longer movie. So I might check it out just to see what the book, what Mile 81's all about, and then we'll see. But that's pretty exciting news. Like you said, more Stephen King stuff is always good. For
Yeah, I
horror,
mean,
so.
doesn't matter what he released. He could release a movie about a killer turd and I'll still watch it.
Yeah, it would be really good.
I
So-
think we need I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, I know we had the miniseries, but we need a real actual movie adaptation of Langoliers.
Yeah, that would be cool. It was one of my favorite like Stephen King miniseries. So.
Yeah, it was because of fucking Toomey. Toomey was such a fucking creep.
Yeah.
He was probably the scariest thing about it, not even the Langoliers. The fact that he would like stab a blind girl.
Yeah, he was a fucked up person, honestly. But that's what Stephen King does pretty well, is highlight like just really shitty people. So let's move on. We've got a couple trailer announcements, so we'll run through here, and then we'll move on into our first segment of the episode. The biggest one, of course, being Child's Play, releasing, I think, at like the end of last week or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, the biggest one. It also did show at the Prodigy premiere as well.
What'd you think?
So, I kind of like that they didn't really show Chucky,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it kind of made me nervous. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't want him to look like a little bitch, like, and what I got from the trailer is that Chucky is not supernatural. He's he's robotic.
yeah, that's been the whole thing the whole time. Like, I think the premise is that the dolls are programmed with some kind of like AI to make them more like lifelike, and like one of the programmers or something at like the place at this company that they make them commits suicide and like corrupts the AI so that like one of them's evil or something like that.
I think it's an interesting premise, But I think the only thing he has in common with the original Chucky is probably the look a little bit, and that he's a killer doll named Chucky. Like
Yeah.
now, it was just chance that his name was Chucky and he was a killer doll. It wasn't like Charles Lee Ray like it originally was, you know. But I will forgive it if they throw in the Chucky line, "Don't fuck with the Chuck." Then I'll be like, this movie is acceptable.
Yeah, see, that's the thing though. I feel like this one isn't gonna have that same personality at all.
No, I think he's gonna be like a serious killer doll.
Yeah, or something like that. I mean, again, it depends like which way they take it. Because
I hope he talks.
oh, I'm sure he will. But
not
if
with
the
the,
AI is
"Hey."
just
He's like, "I'm
Yeah.
gonna kill you, Andy.
yeah, it's not the
I'm
Charles Lee
gonna
Ray
kill you.
Chucky at all.
Come here, Andy. I just want to play hide the soul. Come here, just lay down." Like, we need someone, dude. They need to get fucking Willem Dafoe to be Chucky.
Oh man,
Can you imagine that?
I cannot.
I can. It would be fucking crazy.
I do not.
Or
want
Tom
to.
Hardy. That guy's like the man of 1,000 voices.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know. The only person for me is that's
Oh, yeah.
probably why they made
Brad
him
Dourif.
an AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad Dourif is the only man that can.
Yeah.
Even Jennifer Tilly was like, "Not my Chucky." Did
Yeah,
you
I
see how
saw
good
that,
she
yeah.
looks? She's 60 years old.
Yeah, I sure did.
That's moisturizer and being rich. That's
Yeah.
all
for
you
real.
need.
Well,
The keys to success.
despite how you feel about that, you know, the trailer's out. It doesn't really show Chucky except for like, you know, he's like in the shadows or like you see him from behind or something. So he's still wearing like the same costume and everything, the overalls and everything. But
Blue eyes.
yeah,
Red haired.
yeah, we do know that, but we haven't seen him like full frontal yet. That's the thing.
I saw
but-
fan art of a full frontal, and basically they took the image
Mhm.
and they just flipped it and they expanded upon it, and like it looked pretty good. It did not look bad at all.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm still a little nervous about that. It looks like it's going to be a more like serious slasher again, kind of
Yeah.
taking it back to the roots of the first movie. We did see like a thing of Aubrey Plaza as the mom, like strung up, and
Oh yeah.
Andy being more of like the central protagonist of this movie. So I am like we've been saying, interested but not like super excited about it. But yeah, that is out. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, go check it out. The movie's dropping June 21st in theaters. The next trailer is about a movie called Demon Eye. Now, parts of this movie looked kind of cool and parts of it were very strange. There's just a part where some girl has her head backwards and her arms and like legs backwards, but her torso is like the other way or something.
Nice.
And it's just like it's really odd looking. But the movie is apparently going to be another kind of Hereditary-ish ripoff. Like this young girl goes to her father's house after he dies and finds this cursed amulet that is supposed to grant her greatest wish, but it comes with a price.
Didn't we just have Wish Upon? What the fuck?
Although that wasn't really more of like a serious horror movie, and it was kind of more like fantasy based almost at times. This is supposed to be like she finds this like head in her tub or whatever, because you know there has to be an obligatory bathtub scene. I don't know. It looks okay. It kind of looks atmospheric and like it could be good, but there are some of those CGI parts that I was like, on, you know. So
I didn't mind the CGI from The Possession of Hannah Grace. It wasn't like intolerable. So if it's something like that, I won't mind. But
yeah,
if it's something like, let's say, I don't know, pick one.
honestly, I could have said The Possession of Hannah Grace because there were parts of it that I thought the CGI was a little much, but
I probably couldn't tell because I was so like blinded by rage.
yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I know, but no, I get your point completely. Now,
oh yeah,
this next one actually doesn't seem to feature a lot, if any, CGI, and I'm actually kind of excited about it. Those goddamn South Koreans are at it again, making a good. But this one is a horror
God damn
comedy.
it.
This one's a horror comedy, so it's called The Odd Family Zombie on Sale.
that what's that movie of the dead? that the really hard one to find.
Oh, One Cut of the
One
Dead.
Cut of the Dead. I found it
Yeah.
on Amazon. Found it on eBay.
I ordered it from Amazon UK. That's that one I told you about that was like supposedly region free.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, but it's coming from the UK, so I gotta wait like another week or two for it.
Oh damn.
Yeah, but
That's that one was like, is that the same director or is it like
As
What-
this?
or is
No,
this
I
like
don't
an
think so.
inspired by movie? Because they wouldn't just come up
Mhm.
with a.
No, this is something like
Comedy.
completely random. Actually,
So was
they're
one.
just crazy.
One
They're
Cut
just
of the
crazy.
Dead was completely random too.
Yeah, I
I
think
read the
so.
premise and it was just like, okay.
No, I mean I've heard nothing but like awesome things about it, so I'm excited. But this one looks cool too. This one follows a family of people who find a zombie like randomly and try to profit from it. And the zombie apparently has been created by a pharmaceutical company's illegal experiments. And the trailer just looks absolutely bonkers, like very much intentionally funny. And I actually did laugh through it a
Okay.
few times. So I think it's actually going to be a good one. And with like Kingdom and One Cut of the Dead, and I think Train to Busan was South Korean, if I'm not mistaken. It
I think so.
could have
Yeah.
been like Indonesian or something. But
You know they're remaking that.
I know. That's a whole other.
You
long
want to bet it's
conversation.
another Martyrs?
I don't know. I haven't seen the Martyrs remake, but it's
on,
probably
on
garbage.
Amazon, it has like 2.5 stars.
No, dude.
And I'm getting it Friday, so we can watch it this weekend.
Okay, yeah, that's a whole other thing. I have a lot of opinions about that, but but this movie does actually look good, and it's supposed to be coming out locally in like South Korea or whatever, February 14th, and we are probably going to be getting it in like the summer,
That'll be dope.
fall or something. Yeah, I do want to see this one because it actually looks good. Like not super scary, but the zombie makeup actually looks awesome, and they're like fast zombies, and it looks funny. So I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, I'm so sick of serious zombie soap operas. So
Some
need-
of them are good.
we need
but
we need more Return of the Living Deads. That's what we need, honestly.
Yeah,
We don't. I'm so sick of like, dun dun dun, in every
Yeah.
episode. Carl,
Coral,
Dad,
Coral.
Shane, the governor,
Yeah,
Negan. Like bro. Every fucking season is just Rick saying someone's name in like a serious or angry manner. That's the whole show.
Mhm.
And then everyone argues. Then they separate. Then they make up after one person saves the other one alive, even though they're not cool. And then they're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
Well, this one actually looks good, and we've also got Zombieland 2 coming out. Don't forget.
Oh
about that.
yeah. Did you
Yeah.
see the 10-year later photo?
I did.
That
yeah.
shit was hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
Fucking. Oh man. When is that coming out? Do you know?
I
the
think
date?
that's later this year. I don't know the exact date.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hopefully in time for Halloween.
I hope so. I think it's like September or something, but
That'll be
I'd have
perfect.
I'd have to check. Yeah.
Dude, now my heart's racing. Fuck. I forgot all about Zombieland too.
Yes.
Damn, it's been 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It
I know,
doesn't
it's
seem like
crazy.
it. For me, when I think 09, I think, it's like 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Like,
No, yeah, it's not. Well, speaking of a long time ago, I think it's a perfect time to get right into our very first segment. And this one's actually going to start exploring the overall kind of theme of this week's movies is the killer kid thing.
and this is the Cult Corner.
So in this week's Cult Corner,
Sangis Bibimus Corpus.
hey, a great soundtrack.
Bibimus
Very good soundtrack.
Sole Corpus.
So if you couldn't have already guessed, we're going to be talking about The Omen this week.
I watched the remake recently.
Mhm.
It's honestly, this is one of the remakes that's like so similar to the original that there's like no point in
Yeah.
it even being a remake because like literally almost nothing changed. It ended the same way. The people died exactly when they died. It's like it was like a
Yeah.
fucking frame for frame remake. which
Although,
the original one, better music,
yeah,
2, better mood, 3, better score, 4, better suited actors. I want to say that.
yeah,
I don't like that they got Cotton Weary in the fucking remake being the dad because
yeah, I don't know about
we're supposed to get this serious older kind of guy. Like
Gregory Peck. He's
dude,
like
he's fucking awesome.
he's like the fuck. You could see that guy's like the U.S. ambassador for
Oh yeah,
England
not
or whatever.
fucking Cotton Weary
Yeah,
who
that's
got
kinda
killed in Scream 3.
weird. Let's not forget Sabretooth as well. Yeah,
Oh god, I don't want to talk about Cotton Weary.
yeah, no, I agree completely, dude. The although I will say the casting for like the kid in the remake was like not the worst.
No, it
It
wasn't.
was okay.
But the original kid's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, something about like that kid's a good actor for a fucking. How old was he at the time? Like 4.
Something like that.
They're like, just look angry at the camera. Like, what did they tell him? Like, look angry, but not really angry and with no emotion. Like, and he did it well too. He didn't look like a cheesy, angry little kid. He looked like a legit evil fucking kid.
He was like 5 or 6 years old at that time.
Nice.
And apparently there was a little tidbit. Apparently he was actually cast when the director Richard Donner, I think it was him, he told all the kid actors to like attack him, like they really wanted to harm him or something. And apparently Harvey Spencer Stevens like really attacked him, like he was scratching him and shit like that, and he was just like, all right, you're hired.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I know.
That's fucking nuts. I never knew that.
Yeah. And this movie also was notoriously plagued by like
Bad luck, yeah.
yeah, like you heard about that, like it was supposedly cursed.
Yeah, same thing as like Poltergeist and you mentioned
The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're actually going to be doing like a documentary on
I was
Shudder
gonna say.
about cursed like movie sets and stuff like that.
I'd love to go to those movie sets.
Yeah.
Someone around me would fucking die.
Oh yeah, some guy would fall off a ladder.
And he'd be like, oh, blame that guy. I don't know. Nothing happened until he showed up.
The director's just like, not again. You're like, again?
Right? Like, I mean, how could this have happened right now
Oh, no.
for the first time ever? I don't know. I like the
That's
whole
weird.
cursed movie sets thing. It's
Yeah.
because, like, you know what happens with the... I'm not even going to get into it. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about the Omen.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
The best
that
intro
stuff did
in
happen.
horror movie history.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just like the credits right off the bat with the
Mhm.
fucking Ave Satani blasting in the background made it like super, super suspenseful. You didn't even know what the
Yeah.
fuck you were getting into, honestly. If you didn't know what the Omen was ahead of time, then you're just like, what am I getting into? What is this satanic shit going on?
Yeah. I think that whole score actually won like an Oscar or something.
I think so. I mean, it was
Yeah.
it was made by like a real like fucking what is it, choir.
Yeah, like a composer and shit.
Yeah, for real. No one can say though that this movie wasn't like, it definitely was not a knockoff, but it was inspired by Rosemary's Baby. Let's be real. Demonic
Mm-hmm.
demons and children, demonic children. They're just like, hey, let's take it one step further. How about the baby instead of, we'll make it the devil's son, but we'll show what it's like when it grows up, and we won't
Yeah.
sacrifice the mom. Like,
I mean, I guess technically it was
Rosemary's
an
Baby.
original, but Rosemary's Baby
That
was
one
like
was a
the-
bit more like actually like suspenseful and
yeah.
scary.
Especially
I would say.
because you never actually saw the baby, so the whole time you were like, does it have like 3 horns sticking out of its head or something? Like,
Yeah,
what's-
this one felt more to me like a thriller than
Mhm.
like a horror movie. Mainly because like at first you're like, yeah, no, this kid's not the Antichrist. It's just shit luck, and it's
Mhm.
psychological. So they're trying to bring the kid into it to make it more scary. But then it turns out the kid has the 666's birthmark on him.
The whole second act basically of this movie was like them going on like a road trip to all these different countries and shit like that, and like investigating stuff. Like
Yeah.
Damien wasn't even there,
Yeah,
so the only real like supernatural moments were like
the spear through the priest.
yeah,
Uh,
the
the
nurse
glass-
hanging herself or
and then
whatever.
and then the glass cutting that dude's head off.
Hmm.
Other than that, like honestly, most of the stuff just seemed like sheer chance.
Yeah, most of the rest of it was just exposition, like them talking about how he's the Antichrist, and
The whole movie was like biblical reference.
Mhm.
You're supposed to know what they're talking about to be able to like relate it to like Damien and see if he fits the criteria for like Antichrist.
yeah. And then like as the movie goes on and the dad gets more paranoid, then he like, chops his hair off and he sees like the sign and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like I think my son really is the Antichrist.
He started probably believing it after like a little bit shortly before he talked to that one-eyed priest.
Yeah.
Like just shortly before that.
Although you know what
The photographer is the one who convinced him that it was legit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, and you know what I like about this movie too, kind of, is, and it came out in '76, so it was a little bit ahead of its time. But
Oh yeah, a lot
the fact that because now with a lot of these movies we see the trend mainly focusing on like the mom,
Oh yeah.
And this one really kind of didn't. She was kind of like the side character, and it was like, because it was Gregory Peck, so of course he has to be the
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
the main character.
Why wouldn't he be?
But I mean, focusing on like the dad as he goes through this whole ordeal, I thought was pretty interesting, because even with like The Exorcist, we saw like the mom take
Exactly.
So it's not like a super important thing, but I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it was. I agree too, because I never really thought about it like that. Possession of Hannah Grace was like dad based too, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Except he came off more as like the antagonist.
Yeah,
kind of. Even though he wasn't technically, but
Changeling was like another.
Yeah.
Which is arguably one of the best horror movies ever created. Let's be real. Changeling is like the perfect horror movie. So.
Mm-hmm. George C. Scott is just,
that dude's like, he's too real. Like,
yeah,
he's way better than fuck that, every actor in his time.
Damn. He was amazing in that movie.
Look back when The Changeling was released and look at every other actor. No one's touching him.
The Omen though, like, it came pretty close. I mean, I thought the acting was really good. It
was surprisingly for 1976.
Yeah,
it's just another one of those movies. Like, it's like for 70s and 80s movies, the acting is usually hit or miss. Like, nothing's really a predictor of whether the movie is going to be a shitstorm or like good acting here and shitty acting there. But this one had like, the only bad acted part was when the mother fell off the stairs.
Oh yeah.
Whoa! And then she like flipped onto her stomach. It's like, okay.
I don't know. It would have been pretty difficult because it looked like, I mean, I don't know how they did that shot exactly, but it looked like they weren't as high up as
They weren't. You know what they did? She was like 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah, it was.
And as she was falling backwards, they didn't zoom in, but they moved the camera forward and back, like as she was falling. I noticed it immediately. I was like, "Wow, really? They just went like this." Like,
I didn't notice it the first time I watched this movie, but I noticed it the other day when I was
like, "Bro, she's like right next to the floor." Like,
so she's got to like really try to
act. It's because they had a shot. It's because they had a shot from behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say like this is the perspective, like 45 degrees, but behind her. So you had like a medium shot, like from her waist up, and she starts falling backwards, and as soon as she falls off the staircase, the camera angle changes to the 3 feet off the ground one. So like, it was just, that was a bad shot.
I think they just basically like tumbled her through the air real quick, 3 feet off the ground with some wires or something.
Yeah.
Or she just like flipped backwards. I don't know, but I have to see it again. But yeah, basically that's how it looked. It was kind of wacky.
It was just like 1 second she does this, and the camera like she goes like that, and then the camera changes, and she's like,
yeah, Samael is impersonating.
Yeah, I have to do it in front of me. We need visuals here, people.
That was like the only real like weird part, because most of the other special effects even were.
It was great when the dude got beheaded. It was it looked like a snuff film. It was it reminded me of like Tobe Hooper movies. Like, it was done in that style. It was nice.
If you do kind of look at it really close though, you can like clearly tell it's like a fake doll head.
Oh yeah,
but I mean, in the
real
moment,
time,
it's awesome. Yeah,
like,
especially because it's so sudden. It's just like one frame, the next frame is just.
I didn't expect for him to get beheaded.
Yeah, that shit was great.
I forgot all about that shit.
Yeah, that was probably the best.
I knew he died when he was. I remember in the remake he died too, when he wanted, like, fuck it, I'll do it, and he wanted to grab the dagger, and then
dude, even the nurse at the beginning at the party,
that was fucking.
You could see her like, her neck like snap.
Yeah,
and she just like snaps back. That was pretty brutal.
A lot of like these older movies, like whoever told them what body movements to do has a really good idea of reality. Not like these other movies where like they'll get stabbed and they'll be like, oh, they'll spin backwards and they'll fall, like, come on.
No, you got to have people who like actually know how people move and act and stuff like that.
You can't have someone like Ted Cruz, like normal human standing. Is that
right?
Okay.
No, he's a reptile person.
He is so is Mark Zuckerberg. Did you ever see that meme with Mark Zuckerberg drinking water? He's like, nom, 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 normal human water to lubricate my intestines. Like,
yeah, I did see that. It was funny.
Those are the best.
But yes, I thought that was all very good. I like that they used like a real dog.
Yeah.
To act as like the menacing hellhound.
I wonder what they did when they got those dogs to jump him. You remember when they jumped the papa?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they had like an actual dog trainer, and
maybe that was the dog trainer, because it was with the back of his head turned to the camera the whole time.
I'm sure it was a stunt person for sure. But at the actual, you remember the scene with the monkeys like attacking the car?
Yeah.
That shit, that was Lee Remick's like real reaction, the mom.
Oh, really?
That was, yeah, because
didn't tell
apparently
her?
she didn't know that they were going to like actually attack the car. And so they had the monkeys like actually attack the car because there was like a person inside who like had one of their babies or something like that. That's what I read. It was something to those lines. So they were
shit.
like really going after the car and they just attacked the shit out of it. And yeah, she didn't know it was going to be that serious. So she was like freaking out.
Yeah.
Because in the movie you can see her face. She's like, she's
and that was
just,
her,
like genuinely terrified.
That's why I was like, damn, she looks really scared right there.
Yeah.
The kid didn't look scared though. Like he looked like he was kind of pretending.
Dude, I think that kid is evil in real life.
Yeah,
so.
probably. Well, not kid. He's probably older. He's much
Yeah.
older than us now.
Oh yeah.
He was like 6 years old in 76. So he was born in the 1970.
Yeah.
Whew.
Oh yeah. He's 48 years old right now.
Oh shit.
But I mean, hey, he could still be scary.
Bro, are you
Yeah.
evil?
He probably is, honestly.
You know how many? You know what I noticed too? You know how many crosses that when they found that room with they had 47 crosses. He said.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's like 47 crosses.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, oh shit. Star Trek shout out, like,
Mm-hmm.
because Star Trek started that whole 47 thing. You know that, right? They use that number in like their episodes, like, and not a lot of movies kind of just like will use it now as like a shout out to Star Trek.
Yeah, stuff just becomes like running, like,
Yeah, it's a cult thing.
references.
Like it's just
Yeah, that is interesting, huh?
Star Trek. God damn you,
I know.
influencing the Omen.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 years later, they would influence Halloween with the Captain Kirk mask.
Yeah, but I mean, the Omen influencing a lot of stuff too. I mean, before we get into our main segment, I just wanted to wrap up and say I thought the Omen is truly a cult classic because it's just one of those like older movies that when you watch it, you're like, oh shit, like this is pretty dark and like
Yeah.
atmospheric, like it has that super serious, moody tone. And I think that you get the whole like biblical antichrist,
Yeah.
like good versus evil thing out of this movie. I haven't seen the sequels, but I mean, this movie is a classic to me for sure.
I've seen Omen 3, the one where he's like ambassador or whatever, and then he like runs into baby Jesus, and baby Jesus kills him by just existing, and he's like, oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That
But
one was pretty. It was more of like a mystery to find out which. So they said that Jesus, or they called him the Nazarene. They wouldn't say his name. Like the Nazarene child was born, and like they went to go kill all the babies that were born on that day. The only baby that they didn't kill was the guy who worked for Damien. He wouldn't kill his kid, and he soon found out that his kid was Jesus, but Jesus' dad had been working for the Antichrist the whole
have
time.
you ever noticed these like religious fucking horror movies? Like the more sequels that they make, the more like nutty it is.
Yeah.
Like The Exorcist, dude. Exorcist 2 and Exorcist 3 were pretty like out. Exorcist 3 was like a little more restrained, but even it still had
it
like
was
all
crazy, but it was
that
good.
Zuzu, shit.
3 was good.
It was really good.
2 was shit. Like
Yeah.
fucking Linda Blair having hallucinations about Pazuzu in the Grand Canyon. Like
Oh,
what the
man.
fuck is going on?
Yeah, all those sequels were like they just got really wacky. Before we move on to the next segment, let's give a shout out to some other SRD shows.
Because I feel like a salad tossing might feel good.
What? Out of Bounds Detroit podcast. Tuesday morning and Friday mornings here on SportsRadioDetroit.com.
Hi, this is Chris.
And this is Roger.
And if you like Tigers baseball, Major League Baseball, Minor League Baseball, analytics, pop culture references, movies, sports, food, check us out. Look for Tigers SRD on iTunes, Google Play, or Spotify.
I mentioned before about movies that The Omen has itself influenced, and this is definitely one of those. I feel like we're going to be talking about the new Killer Kid horror movie on the block, The Prodigy.
Oh yeah. I watched a trailer for this like 4 months ago, I think.
Mhm.
4 or 5 months ago. And the only thing I remember from the trailer is like the kid running toward the mom after saying, "Mommy, I'm scared." And then as soon as he jumps in her arms, he's like a grown demon man or something.
So, but that that didn't really give a lot away. And I will say, if you have seen that trailer, you still won't know what to expect. It's definitely
what you
not
think.
what you're expecting. But I did like that they went
A different route.
a different route.
I swear.
You know, like I won't say what it is that happens, like the twist, I guess, but it was pretty satisfying. It was a pretty unique concept that does stem from, I guess, a myth that exists in the world.
I won't spoil it, but I'll give a hint. It bears more resemblance to Child's Play than to The Omen.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, kind of.
Other than the fact that, no inanimate object.
Yeah.
That's all we'll say.
Yeah.
You put 2 and 2 together.
Because we know it's about this kid, Miles, who starts exhibiting like these weird symptoms. And in the Prodigy, he's actually birthed by his mother, instead of it being like a kid swap like in The Omen.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's like, I know your kid died, but we got this brand new, one of a kind, not used, brand new.
Definitely not satanic.
Definitely not satanic young boy.
Yeah.
Is he evil? Probably not. Like 4% chance that he might be, but we just had 100 babies, so by that logic, 4 of them are evil.
Yeah.
We delivered 100 today, so
on a scale of like, Hitler to Robin Williams, he's like a Gilbert Gottfried kind of, like, oh, so pretty evil.
And then right, like, oh, he's a fucking maniac. He's demented. He deserves to be in jail. Like what?
But in the Prodigy,
I love Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, he's a great guy, man.
Greatest fucking cartoon voice actor in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like,
at least,
Iago from Aladdin.
Yeah.
Fucking parrot.
Dude, iconic.
Him and Robin Williams are the goats of everything.
Yeah, for real. But in the Prodigy, he is still pretty evil.
I would say more so than The Omen.
Well, at least in like his acts.
Because in The Omen, it seemed like it was all like the kid didn't want to do it, but it was just like in his nature.
Yeah.
In this one, the kid was like enjoying it. Like he loved it. Well, not
you'll see.
Not the kid per se.
Yeah, no. You guys will get the full brunt of it because one of the things that I wasn't as much of a fan of was basically, again, like the second act of this movie where they like explain everything that's happening. So just prepare for that. That's one of the things that I wasn't like.
Dude, as soon as like she got, like she went to a psychologist for the kid. Spoiler alert! I'm not gonna give anything away. And then like the psychologist sent her to like someone else and was like, "Have you ever heard of insert 11-letter word?" And then she goes to this quack. And I say quack because like he's like one of those fucking new age hippies without hair though. And he's like, "Hey man, have you ever considered that this might be wrong with your kid?" And she's like, "What are you people talking about?" As any normal parent would. And she got out of there.
He's like every like modern horror movie, I guess.
Have you tried healing crystals? Have you tried
Ahab thing where it's like you have no business knowing about this very specific
like how would you
thing
just
that's
know,
happening? Yeah.
Is your son exhibiting strange behaviors? Oh my God, yes. Have you ever considered that your son might be? And then he like just comes out with it. That's so fucking stupid.
That is basically what happened. So that threw me off.
He just
like,
happens to be a professional.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It kind of leaves like a lot of questions still, like a lot to be desired, because that just feels like kind of a convenient thing to throw in there as like that Ahab kind of character. I guess not technically, but it's like the character that comes to grant you knowledge, in the horror movie, and that's one of the things that I'm like iffy about when it comes to horror movie tropes. But anyway, it was all very laid out and perfect, explanation wise. So that was one of the things I didn't like about this movie. It kind of treated its audience
like idiots.
Yeah.
I feel like when they explain it too much, it's like insulting.
Kind of, yeah. Like,
Isn't
you can't
it?
just
Like,
let me think of it on my own. Like, don't make it so fucking
honestly,
out there that
once
I can't.
once you see the beginning, you'll know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Like that will literally give the whole movie. If you need that explained.
Well, it seemed weird initially, but then like after like 20 minutes, I was like, okay.
It's like what Insidious did with when the husband was fucking, afflicted and there was something wrong with him, and then they're like, we figured it out because movie. Like,
yeah. I mean, unless it's something like really fucking crazy, like the Endless, like I could kind of maybe infer what was going on, but not really, So, I mean, you could drop like a hint or two throughout the story, but if you have to lay out like a whole half an hour block just to explain what is going on,
that's what they
that's
did.
like
Not only did they explain it, and then like the mother went into the son's closet and found a secret slot with the board just happened to be sticking out, right?
Yeah.
And she found out. She's like, "Oh, this confirms my suspicions." Like,
Yeah.
what?
There were a lot of very convenient writing segments of this film, I felt like, but apart from that, I thought it was actually like a pretty solid movie. The beginning was pretty creepy, I mean, I thought it was like definitely a creepy horror film throughout. Like, I thought it was effective.
Oh yeah, I thought it was effective. I thought
the kid was creepy.
it was pretty atmospheric too at a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I just there was nothing special about the score for me.
I thought that the score was actually like pretty decent.
It
It was
was
no
okay,
Omen,
but
but yeah,
I just thought it was kind of boring.
that's fair.
I didn't like Miles.
You didn't?
No, I didn't think he himself
Mm.
had that like natural creepiness to him.
Sure, yeah. 'Cause there were a couple times where he like made this like face like he was trying to be like sinister, and it just didn't really click with me,
Yeah, it just seemed a little too over the top for me.
But there were other parts where I thought he was pretty effectively creepy.
Some like
Yeah.
when he was just standing in the dark
Hmm.
while his mom was looking up stuff about him.
Yeah, when you couldn't see his kind of overacted face, basically,
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's a kid actor, so I get it. So for what he did, I think he did it pretty well. In the third act, actually, the end of the movie, I thought he did a pretty good job.
I thought he did well,
Yeah.
yeah. When he explained to her everything.
Basically, but even just the way that he like acted, like his physical acting at the end was pretty good. Basically, the third act of this movie, it wasn't like this like huge fork in the road in the story, but it like was kind of sudden. Like they just ended up in a completely different setting, and
Yeah, that was weird.
this crazy stuff happened. But I mean, for me and to a lot of other people, I thought it was probably like the best part of it, because it kind of went into like this tense, like true crime-ish almost like thriller way,
Yeah.
kind of like Seven or something like that. So I actually thought that part was pretty good. It was pretty like suspenseful. I just thought that that whole segment with like her figuring out what's going on was just a little extra.
Yeah, because we didn't because we got a pretty big hint already. We just didn't know like the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Because we saw right at the beginning like what kind of happened to Miles and who he is. Well, we knew like what he was, like the type of person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like we didn't know exactly the story.
Mm-hmm.
But you could clearly tell.
Yeah,
like,
there was
right
just
off
a
the
lot
bat.
of that, like hand holding kind of in this movie, which I didn't like that much. But
Pun intended?
now that you mention it, yeah. But I mean, yeah, basically, in
I
like
felt
the
it
whole
was
middle of the
condescending.
movie.
Yeah, it was just condescending.
I guess so. Yeah.
It wasn't pretentious. That's the one thing I like to
No.
avoid from horror movies. This movie was as serious as it needed to be, but I felt like whoever wrote the screenplay was very condescending.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, given what we saw at the beginning, we can only assume what we think is correct, and it is.
Hmm. Yeah, there just needed to be like some more action of like the kid being,
I think so. It was
fucking
mostly like,
maniac or
hey,
whatever.
there's something wrong with Miles. Like that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
99% of the movie.
And then yeah, basically toward the end, it started really ramping up when he started getting crazier, essentially. Was so kind of like the Omen, like as the story progressed, he just got like worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I enjoyed the film. It wasn't that great, but it wasn't like hot trash like some people are saying it was.
It was a solid 6.5 out of 10 for me.
Okay, yeah, sure, it's fair. I mean, like you said, the score, nothing great, but I thought the acting was good. I thought the lighting, especially in a lot of places, was actually really
The
good.
hallway scene,
Mhm.
the scene where she's on the laptop and he's hiding in the other room.
Yeah,
most of the indoor nighttime scenes, I want to say.
Mhm. Yeah, because they actually did have a bunch of daytime scenes,
They did, yeah. This wasn't a really isolated movie at all. It was like
which kind of gave it more of that like true crimey thriller vibe,
yeah.
almost, Yeah, but so that was good. Cinematography was again nothing like special, but it was good. It was effective.
It really had that like Insidious style cinematography.
Yeah, so I mean, some of it was great, like that shot. I won't spoil it, but with the face,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
I know
Like that
exactly
was
what
pretty
you're-
good. So it definitely had its moments of brilliance, but as a whole, it kind of fell off because of that whole like middle part of it, at least in my opinion.
I thought it was pretty average.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're considering going to see it,
not
I
like
would say go see it.
yeah, I would say see it, but like I would say technically, like aesthetically,
Hmm.
it was a pretty average movie. As far as the premise, I thought it was slightly more original than recent horror, I want to say,
Mhm.
but this has been done, like I said, this is basically child's play, but
Yeah, I saw a review headline that was basically like, it's a very like familiar and safe kind of movie, which I can agree with. It definitely
like it.
felt
It's-
familiar.
it's not like a movie where you're like kind of like fuck what is this, where is this movie going, like
Yeah.
like Antichrist with Willem Dafoe or Mother.
No, yeah, definitely not. It
like
was
you-
it was
you knew-
crazy, but like
Yeah, it was not like allegorically fucking crazy,
Yeah.
where shit's happening and you have to interpret like the characters like fucking actions as some sort of inner struggle. Like no, it was just like,
yeah, it wasn't really
hey,
like that.
Miles is fucked up, man. Like
I mean, it was very much a movie that was like,
it was super
you
explicit.
get what you get, yeah.
It was super
But
explicit.
what you get is just
Average.
but what you get is this like kind of complex topic, but it was very upfront about it.
I felt like everything in the movie was like very arbitrary as far as like the stuff that just happened to be.
Yeah.
Like like the piece of wood is loose, or like I'm not okay. This is just a part of the movie. It is, I'll say spoiler alert, so don't listen to, or the it's too late. Like
Oh.
how? What determines that? Like
Yeah, I
what
don't know.
determined it, and how did he know?
It was very just for dramatic effect, I think.
Yeah, it seemed like everything that happened was like
Mhm.
because it can. Like it, the stuff that unfolded didn't make as much sense as in, oh yeah, that makes sense. It was more like, yeah, it was just written like that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I meant by arbitrary. It was just like just because because the movie said so. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not really into that.
Yeah, it's just asking you to believe. I mean, I guess a lot of movies ask you to suspend your disbelief, but
But it wasn't like Shutter Island when the twist was like,
yeah.
this like that's clever. This one is like, guess what? This, and you're like, fuck, why?
because the way it comes off, like it's supposed to be more rooted in reality,
Yeah.
with just everything. I mean, the fact that we don't see fucking flying saucers race around the sky and stuff, So I get that, yeah. But I was gonna ask one last thing, because this is kind of like that family-based horror, which we have seen a lot of. I talked about it with the Omen, how like the dad was the central figure, and the dad wasn't really the central character here pretty much at all. He had some parts where he was like, I don't believe you, you're going crazy, you woman, basically is how it was. And but the mom had the whole thing, and after seeing like Hereditary, now we're seeing like these movies come back in like force again. So I mean, what did you think of the relationship with like the mom and the kid, like the character interactions? Because that was like kind of a big part of the movie.
I thought it was good because like even though like Miles is a piece of shit, like at no point did his mom like stop caring about him like the whole time. No, that's my son.
I don't know though. There were a lot of moments there where I was like, I don't know if I could have done the same thing in that situation. I think I might have reported him.
I would
or
have been like,
something.
bro, get this thing away from me. Like,
Yeah.
I'll put it up for fucking the gas chamber, not fucking adoption.
Yeah, I don't know. But I thought, I mean, it still seemed like kind of realistic because I'm sure, any mom would probably go to any lengths to save her child, and that's basically the driving force behind this movie is like the interaction between the mom and the son as she's like trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with him and then tries to save him, so very kind of standard for these type of like, these killer kid movies. But I mean, I thought this one did that well. Like it wasn't anything outstanding. Like I didn't see the greatest character arcs in the world or anything like that.
I just thought that besides Escape Room, this movie was a pretty decent way to kick off horror.
Oh yeah.
Because like if it gets better, then that's great. If it gets worse, then it's not going to be like so bad. Because like this one, the standards for this one weren't like super high going into it, but like it didn't really disappoint me.
Yeah.
Like I just had like really no expectations, and I was kind of surprised. At least like we talked about with average cinematography, good premise.
Yeah.
But I thought it was technically done well. I mean, I didn't see really that many flaws other than like I said, the arbitrary way the story unfolded. Like everything that just happened was just because it was written that way. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well,
it didn't really unfold naturally. It kind of was just like,
yeah,
boom, haha, this is why. Like, and then you're like, okay, can we stop it? Not anymore. Why? That's what the script says.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say like the movie wasn't structured very well.
No, but it was paced very well though.
Yeah.
It didn't really I didn't feel like it dragged too long in any scene. I felt like it was just like just quick, just boom, scene. All right, next scene. Like
it was just again one of those where like, by the time it got to like the ending, it was just kind of this really random like divergence kind of.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing. But I'll agree. I don't think it felt like too long or too short or anything. Like
yeah, no point was like, damn, I need to get up and go to the bathroom. It was nothing like that. It was, I mean, I would go see it. I would either go see it because honestly, if you go see it now for like $6, it's cheaper than waiting for it to come out on, physical media because it's gonna be like $20. So you might as well go see it now.
I agree, and like we didn't really have a lot of other people at all. There was like 3 or 4 other people in the theater with us,
and they were like fucking like 20 years older than us.
Yeah,
they were like people who like grew up watching like The Omen. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, but don't believe people saying that it was like
horrible.
Straight garbage.
It wasn't.
Like technically, it was done well. Like
yeah, it's
I dare any of you to go out and make a movie look and sound, and just be this good. Because
yeah,
technically it was. Some of the writing was a little bumpy, like execution wise. Original idea, but execution wise, not like the best.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be talking about another one actually here as well.
Oh, this one was.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! I really like this next one.
There you go. We already know.
I recommend it.
We're still gonna
highly.
We're still gonna talk about it in this week's chopping block. All right, Samael. So since you're so excited about this one, why don't you tell us what it is?
It's called the Golem, not the Pokemon, but the demon child who you summon. For,
not a rock monster that you can store.
No,
battle with.
No Pokeballs here.
Well, you can kind of battle with this one.
Oh yeah, this one nothing's defeating this unless you have like the power of the horn and the Bible or the Torah or the fucking Tanakh or whatever they were using.
Yeah, because this is actually based on like a Jewish mythology. Well, I don't think that the mythology of the Golem is it originally like a Jewish thing?
Same thing with the Dybbuk box. I think it is.
Yeah.
This and the Possession have like the same type of cultural vibes, I want to say.
Kind of.
Not aesthetically, but like at its core, like it has a lot to do with like the Judaic religion. At least in terms of like evil spirits, and then like them needing the good to take out the evil. But in this one, evil kind of wins until like, spoiler alert, the mother is kind of like, all right, that's a little too much. So basically there's this village of like old-timey English Jews or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I think it was like during the 17th century or something like that. I don't even know.
It had to have been like early 17th century.
Yeah.
There's just like There's a bunch of Jewish guys, shalom. They're in this little village, away from the rest of humanity, who's like got like bubonic plague or whatever the fuck they have.
Yeah.
And then the Christians come into the city, and like their leader's like a fucking tyrant, and he like promises violence if they don't like help take care of his daughter, and like they fucked up some of the villagers, and then the mom was like, I'm so sick of this shit. So what does she do? She conjures a fucking golem.
Mm-hmm.
Now what a golem is, it's basically Pumpkinhead but a child.
Yeah.
So, except it doesn't die if its creator is killed, and it just kind of like would probably just live out the rest of its life.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but I mean, I think some of like the original mythology of the golem is that like you use materials from like the earth.
Yeah, rocks, dirt, trees, all that stuff.
Like I think some of them can be made from like mud and
Clay,
stone and
stuff
clay
like that,
and stuff like that. But
for the most part, dirt and like clay and stuff like that.
And then you use like black Jewish magic to some. I mean, that's basically what it is, because it's all from like the Kabbalah or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's the Kabbalah.
So you use that. You go out in the forest. You like draw a giant, like you mold it or whatever, and then you chant the Kabbalah and. You basically summon this thing, and it goes and kills your enemies.
The clip-off part of the Kabbalah, not the Sephiroths. The clip-off is the evil one. So she gets this like clip-offic text, and she's just like, "Oh, holy golem child," and who just happens to, I'm assuming because they kind of hinted at it, look like her dead kid.
Right.
So she gets emotionally attached to this thing, and this thing starts like. Anyone she doesn't like, he fucking ravages them. Like, she gets attacked by the Christians in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for just being a woman. They're like, let's rape her or whatever.
Yeah.
Either that or they knew she summoned the golem. I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, I wasn't completely following it.
Yeah. But. They attacked her, and then they were about to, like, set her on fire or something.
Yeah.
And then the little golem kid came and literally, like, ripped their arms off. And then, like, after he killed them, the rain was, like, pouring.
Yeah.
And she like locked him in the barn, and just that shot of him standing in the door with the rain pouring, and it's just no music either. That's what really gave the movie suspense. Is like sometimes too much music can like when it's like and you're like, all right, bro, shut the fuck up. I would rather have no music at this point. I like that shot of him in the barn, and then like most of the time where you could only see his eyes, even though it was like pitch black. Then she cleaned him up, and then like he would have his moments where he'd go demonic, and one time he even stabbed himself because like he didn't like her husband or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, ow. He's like, what? Nothing. Like,
yeah, she had that like connection to him.
Yeah.
Because she summoned him basically. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's the only bad. I thought he was gonna like completely like turn on her, but like he never did anything bad to her other than like, bitch, like like a normal kid would. Like if he's jealous of his stepdad or whatever, but that wasn't his stepdad because that wasn't her son.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
it was pretty much it wasn't really scary. It was more of like a action fantasy movie, I want to say.
Sort of, yeah. It didn't have that like.
It was like Sleepy Hollow, if you can.
It didn't have that like creepy vibe like The Witch did. I mean, it definitely had the historical kind of setting, but I did read some people say that the actual like I don't know like the the Jewish elements of the movie like with the culture and everything weren't exactly very accurate, but I guess that didn't really matter in the grand scope of things. It was more about like the monster, and I mean it was like there was such obvious CGI with like the golem at times. So you can't really just go into this like they didn't recite the exact passages from the Torah or whatever it was. Like I mean there was.
It's not trying to be like really canon to the Kabbalah movie. It was more of just like. All right, in this universe, if you do this, it summons a goal. Like, and just accept it. Stop trying to like dig into it. All right, it's not like
it was more like just kind of influenced by that whole mythology behind it.
Exactly.
It's not really claiming to be historically accurate. Now, if it was like claiming to be totally historically accurate and stuff like that, then I could see where the outrage might be. But I don't think it presents itself as that kind of movie. But I actually thought that it was definitely an effective movie. The acting was pretty good,
Really good.
especially from the lead actress. Yeah,
Yeah, she was dope. I liked her. I liked the dad, like her husband too, was like, he was really good. Like, because he seemed like legitimately distraught by the fact that she brought a demon into the world.
the kid was like okay, because he was supposed to be this emotionless monster basically. So I thought he did like an okay job.
He was emotionless, but he wasn't like he wasn't exactly emotionless. You know what I mean? Like maybe in the face you couldn't tell, but like, when he stabbed himself when he was angry at the mom and when he ripped everyone to shreds, like clearly he was feeling something.
I think there was definitely intended for there to be some kind of connotation that as the story progressed, like he was exhibiting some kind of feelings for the mother,
Oh yeah,
which is kind of weird given that that's not really how
it was described.
yeah, but or like how that mythology really follows like the thing of the golem or anything like that. But I thought it was an interesting touch for sure, because then that really kind of leads up into what happens with the rest of the movie, like especially in the climax, I thought. But it was interesting. Again, that's one of these, like, this is completely different. That's why I like all of these Killer Kid movies that we've described today, like all kind of had a cool variation and I guess the origin of like the kid itself. Like this one with it being like a golem that was summoned.
I think the best thing about this one, it wasn't like really mystery based. Like, she explained what she wanted to do. She did it, and then the golem was born. It wasn't like the Omen or, the Prodigy, where like they're like, "What's going on here?" Like they knew exactly what was going on there.
Yeah, in those movies there just had to be like a ton of this explanation and exposition. In this movie, it wasn't like that. It was like
that's why
within the first act it happened, and then the rest of it was like the story actually like progressing along naturally.
This movie, I mean, I liked it better than The Prodigy, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, it was done a lot better. Fucking dope cinematography.
The kills were sweet.
It wasn't just like a bunch of like medium shots like The Prodigy.
Yeah.
Prodigy was kind of like, don't get me wrong, it was done well, but like some different type of shots would have been nice.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I thought a lot of the cinematography in this was pretty good too. Like when she was like under the floorboards or whatever, and that it was in the synagogue.
Yeah,
like the beginning of the movie. Like that was pretty good.
I like the where the guy's going toward her on the horse with the torch.
Yeah,
that was done really well.
Yeah, I like the way that they exhibited a lot of these shots too, especially because like these aren't really typical shots given all the costumes and the setting and everything. So
also the kills were pretty brutal, which I really liked.
They were pretty gory, even though like a lot of it was kind of CGI. When they did go practical with it, it was really good.
Oh yeah, like when the heads would explode.
Yeah, I mean that kid was a monster, dude. He was insane.
Literally that kid was a monster and not a kid.
Yeah, so that added also like another pretty cool element to it, but you still had that like mother son, that I guess that parent child like familial thing in this movie, although it was definitely less relevant, I felt like, than like in the Omen or the Prodigy, because it was kind of just like this random thing that she lost her son. Like it wasn't really completely vital to the story.
I would say sort of. It would explain her attachment to the golem.
Yeah, her motivation and everything, like for sure. But it wasn't like central like it was to the Omen, because I mean he's the dad, and if his son is the Antichrist, like that's a pretty big worry, Yeah.
And
the Prodigy, like it's her son, like she birthed him, so that I feel like that's a little bit different. So it's kind of interesting to compare.
Yeah, this one was just more of like an emotional one.
Kind of, yeah. Definitely more of like a drama almost.
Yeah.
Especially with the way that like the whole family aspect was.
Like I said,
sure.
Sleepy Hollow and the witch had a baby, and it was the golem.
Pretty much, yeah. I was actually literally just thinking like, yeah, actually kind of the family elements of this movie is sort of similar to like The Witch.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because the whole family dynamic back in like, you know, the 17th century
I
or
will
whatever
give you my
was,
daughter for 18 grains of rice.
it was way different. So, I mean, I think they did a pretty good job exhibiting that.
I think so too.
Yeah. Especially since it's like a Jewish community too, which is not something that we see on film like very often. So,
Yeah, no, the last really Jewish themed horror movie, like I said, The Possession
yeah.
with Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably like my favorite movie with him.
Yeah, honestly, that I have to rewatch it, but that was a really good movie.
I love that. I like it better than any of the paranormal movies of that era.
Yeah, and I mean the whole thing with like the Dybbuk box was really cool too. I just like these movies that explore these like kind of less common
Exactly.
like legends and mythologies.
Like Insidious was like, oh, astral traveling. Like everyone's done movies about that.
Yeah.
The Conjuring, demonic possession, and goetic demons.
Mm-hmm.
Dybbuk box was just like, you know what a Dybbuk box is? Nope. All right,
Yeah.
we're filming right now.
Now you do.
I think Sam Raimi had something to do with that movie too.
I think he probably produced it or something.
I think so.
But I was gonna say even like
Didn't seem Raimi-ish. It seemed
yeah,
Blumhousey.
it kind of was. Yeah, he may not have.
I still
But
thought
I
like
don't know.
The Possession was like for me a little bit more effective than The Conjuring because like didn't really drag as much.
Mm-hmm.
Conjuring at some points I was like, all right, let's wrap it up. You know, like
Yeah.
just tell me what's gonna happen. Like
I feel you.
Possession was more like a solid ending, and they didn't turn it into a franchise because they didn't really need to. I think it was great on its own.
Yeah.
They made a second Possession movie with like a haunted Monopoly box. Like it's like
That'd be a little much.
you could get a Dybbuk box off eBay, by the way.
Yeah, I saw.
And I watched a guy buy like 6 of them and open them, and it was basically a ripoff. Most of them were like brand new boxes that were just.
Oh yeah.
Imagine-
Well, people take advantage of that.
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
dude!
stuff,
I
man.
could fucking right now just fucking. Well, I could make a nice Dybbuk box so when they open it, there's actually stuff in there.
Yeah. Ghosts.
No.
Spirits. No.
No, just like
Yeah. Like
I'll put some talismans and some rocks in there, you know,
yeah.
just to satisfy. It'll be more instead of like a Dybbuk box, it'll be more like a gift box, like a occult gift box.
Yeah. Well, the Golem was fortunately, in my
Fire.
opinion, good, but yeah, not like paranormal at all in the least. I like the way that they approached it. I guess
seemed kind of allegorical, family and vengeance.
yeah, kind of. It definitely had those like vengeance elements, which I guess is kind of why I was thinking of like Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead, yeah, same.
Yeah, when I was watching it, but
Plus, I mean, it comes out the ground just like Pumpkinhead.
yeah, basically like a witch's summoning almost to some
Exactly.
extent. Yeah. No, yeah, there are definitely similarities, but I mean, it is cool that it's got that like Killer Kid angle kind of as well. It's not like your standard thing, you know, because a lot of the Killer Kid horror movies are based in like contemporary times. Basically, this one was
Oh yeah, this
like
one was
a period
like a
horror
long
film.
time ago.
Yeah,
Like,
so again, pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's not chopped. If you're looking for
No.
a pretty innovative, cool like
Buy it.
supernatural horror
rent
movie,
it.
yeah, this is actually one of the first horror movies to come out from Dread since they rebranded. It's like the Dread Central,
Oh really?
yeah, production company or whatever. So you can buy it through them or you can rent the movie as well, but it's not streaming unfortunately. But I just got it and we watched it and we liked it a lot. So
Yeah.
we wanted to tell you guys about it.
Probably one of my more favorite like fantasy horror movies,
Yeah, I think so too, actually.
and like mythologically based horror movies.
Mhm.
Horror, but would you consider this like a genre film? Actually,
I guess not technically, just because, like you mentioned, it does have those elements of fantasy, of drama,
yeah.
you know. So I wouldn't call it like a straight up genre film, but I mean there are definitely horror elements in it for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because people getting ripped apart and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say. I guess it's definitely got like all those elements. It's not as like fantastical as like a Del Toro movie, but I
No,
guess
no,
if you
no.
had to compare it kind of to something like that, I guess I would kind of compare it
I would say it's.
to like Pan's Labyrinth or something.
I
but
would say it's
maybe
like
not.
if Del Toro was blind in one eye. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
no disrespect to Del Toro or like this filmmaker, but it felt like I don't want to say watered down Del Toro, because even the the way it's directed is completely
Yeah.
different. I'm just saying, like, stylistically, you know, it's a fantasy. Like,
Well, if it was Del Toro, I mean, Del Toro expands.
we would have had more of, instead of these shots, we would have had more of these shots. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, up top, looking at the character 45 degrees and
Mm.
panning while they're walking, and then having a lot of dialogue and like
Yeah.
like a bunch of like really oddball colors everywhere. And
Yeah. Also, like Del Toro, like through his characters and in like subtle things throughout the story, like talks a lot about these like bigger socio-political things,
Oh,
like
yeah.
about like the Spanish War and
most
stuff
movies
like that.
do that.
Yeah, but this movie though, I feel like even though it had the potential, I think, to talk about some like more deeper like Jewish religious things or like Christian religious things, since those were kind of like the opposing forces kind of in this movie, it didn't really expand on that. It was more of like
It was like
a
more.
revenge.
I was gonna say, yeah, like
horror movie.
revenge and like moving on.
Yeah,
Like after, it's like
and like family kind of.
every revenge movie has to deal with the loss, but this one wasn't like revenge because of the loss. This
Mm.
one was like revenge, and the revenge was executed by like a physical manifestation of the loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
basically.
that's what this was.
Yep. That's what I would say, but it's still a good movie to enjoy for sure. Definitely something I think you kind of have to be in the mood for.
And
but
you have to pay attention. You can't like
yeah, you do.
you can't just doze off and
Yeah.
just fucking be on your phone. It's not one of
Mhm.
those.
Well, so yeah, we do recommend this one. Go check it out if you can. I think you can rent it on Prime if I'm not mistaken. So go check it out. Support it. You'll be supporting, indie horror cinema as well if you do. Speaking of supporting, you can support Grave Discussions on all your favorite social media as well.
Yeah, and we don't mean support us by like give us money, because we're not that type of company, I want to say.
Yeah.
We just want you to follow us, give us your opinions, chat with us.
Yep.
Not full blown conversation, because frankly, I don't care what you're getting your grandma for her birthday.
Yeah.
But just let us know what you think about horror. Like, let us know like some movies we may not have heard of, like even recent ones, like
Mhm.
that have just blown up in like the showings, like the little independent showings, and you never know, because like usually when I find something random, it's like, oh, this was at this film festival, and then they were also promoting this, and here was a trailer for that, and like
Mhm.
that's how I usually find like those more low key movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you guys want us to talk about anything specific, definitely let us know. We do have a Facebook, Instagram, and a Twitter. Just search for Grave Discussions and you'll find us. Grave Disc SRD on Twitter. And we have a website, gravediscussions.net, where you can find all of our episodes as well as host bios and a bunch of other stuff. So,
We're also on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play.
yep. And on Castos as well, which
Ooh, I
is
don't
like
even know
our.
what that is.
Yeah, it's like we just moved to it, so you can go check us out on there. That's actually the player that's on our website. So, yep, we have a bunch of different platforms, lots of ways to reach us and to listen to us. So, go follow, comment, let us know what you guys think.
Because we are the only Grave Discussions, just like SRD.
Exactly. So, go check them out as well. But I think that's going to wrap it up for episode number 48.
Yes. Tune in next week where we bob for apples on Grave Discussion.
This has been an SRD production.